pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag of the United States
of America,
to the republic,
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. So, let's see. Before we get started with anything, actually, Nick, I saw your message saying that you were have to leave early. When can you stay on? What would you like the order to be? Would you like to just go first and then we can kind of come back and go through my
I,
agenda?
I think that would be great. And if you could leave your agenda up, I can offer what comments I know based on the agenda too. Um, so first order of business, as y'all know, the township building is opening back up, or hopefully you know. And I know council meetings are being shifted back. Our workshop and our council meetings are going back next month. I believe we also made an announcement that citizen boards will be switching back to the township building in person now that we have the facility to do it. So starting next month, we will be back at the township building. And going right at the top, the single-use plastic ordinance. So going back into at our workshop meeting in July, so in between our June and July meetings, a lot of constituents apparently called Kristen, Councilwoman Kristen, and she said that she just kind of felt uncomfortable moving forward without addressing the concerns. The main concerns were kind of to do with the fee that was on there, the 15-cent fee. Is where a lot of it lied. A lot of what council said and council's position is we are using and putting the fee in to help protect the small businesses. And that's what we continue to tell constituents. And council's probably going to be changing the ordinance to take it from a 15 to a 10, because I think was one of the reasons council said, like, we wanted to start with what y'all suggested. So the 15-cent fee being more effective, but we kind of anticipated pushback. And we wanted to give ourselves room to say there's a fee and okay, we hear constituents, but we do know how important that fee is to keep in place. So we will probably be going from a 15 to a 10-cent fee because we do really want to protect our small businesses, because Target and Whole Foods and all the other major companies can wipe them out. So we want to try to put everybody on an even playing field. So, and then the other thing that we're going to be changing, which is why we had to table the ordinance, because a lot of people were saying, hey, there's no provision in here if a place like BJ's wants to provide their own boxes that they have. And Kristen said she would just feel more comfortable if that language, even though it was implied, was specifically included in the ordinance. So we'll just be adding language that if there's any boxes that a store has that they want to offer to their customers free of charge, that they are able to do that. So that's the reason that was tabled. Assuming we don't hear any more major pushback, that should be going back on the agenda for August. And I think, don't quote me, but I think it will need to be heard twice. So August and then September would be the passage of it, assuming we don't hear any more pushback. In terms of like rooftop solar, I think we talked about this at a workshop
before you
a
move
little
on.
bit. Yeah.
So the provision for boxes, I mean, that would be at no cost. That's the
Yeah, because
intent.
it's the boxes that they have. So you know how like BJ's, because it's all in
Yeah.
bulk, and have like the little boxes from where they store, where they display, or what they're shipped in. Since they have that and they would just recycle them anyway, if they want to offer them to customers as ways to a free means of getting your groceries out, we just kind of want
Okay.
that language in there so that way we could say, yes, this is an option. Stores don't have to worry, customers don't have to worry. and to show to show our constituents that we are listening and taking their input, and we're not just kind of trying to push an agenda, but actually make the township better and greener.
Would that say something on the boxes being like reused or something?
I don't think we would make the stores do anything like that in the sense of
Well, I mean, the
BJ's
idea like
just
for
yeah.
BJ's is that they are being reused. I mean, they're the boxes
Yeah.
that they received as packaging, and now they're just making them available for customers. So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think how that could be worded. I mean, I don't think any store would ever start buying boxes, but I just want to make it sure that, again, just keeping in line with the whole reduction in green, you know, I just want to make sure that there's some way it's not saying new boxes or, you know, it seems ridiculous.
No,
that
it wouldn't be,
but
it wouldn't be the provision of that would be in there is just will be stating that it's boxes that they would have already possessed.
Okay.
So you can't just buy a new box, but if all your, say, I'm trying to think of one, like say all like the deodorants were in one little like display box, and like the pack of 8, and they wanted to let a customer use that box, they can use that box because they would have needed to get it to buy the deodorant, but they can't just go and buy boxes and give away the boxes. That won't be allowed. It's just the stuff that they would have already had on hand, in the same way BJ's already has stuff on hand and gives it out to customers for free.
Okay.
And if a store wants to advertise them as reused, we would highly encourage that because that is what it is. But I don't think we're going to be pushing to like require any of that. But any more questions on the plastic ordinance?
Yeah, I don't want to, I know you guys have put a lot of work into it, but I'm just curious, and this is all I'll say. Is there any concern like at the corner of Butler and Ridge where you have a Weiss, and catty corner to that in White Marsh, there's a
Giant.
A Giant. So is there any pushback, let's say from a Weiss that says, oh, you know, they don't have the plastics, we do. So you're going to drive a few customers to that store, and there's probably similar situations, township boundaries. That's all I wanted to throw out.
White Marsh is actually past one, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As far as the plastic bags go, I do actually think we're one of the last to pass such an ordinance, and I think it's mostly been from like council's perspective is we know how contentious it's going to be already and how much of a fight, and we wanted other townships to do it first, get their test run, see how it works, so we can make an informed decision and not make our constituents guinea pigs. So I think overall, actually, a majority of the townships near us already have ordinances in place.
Good.
Because we were looking at their comparisons.
Good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thought I had. Continue.
Thanks for the update, Nick. I also had a question, I guess, about the, I think council asked us to put together some rebuttal. I don't know if rebuttals is the right word, but against the
talking points.
Against the bag the ban. I guess movement that people were bringing up to you guys. Did you also hear about that?
I do remember us talking about talking points. But beyond that, like I think the only talking point I really remember us discussing at length in terms of like council, is the one about the fee.
Okay.
The one about the fee. And our main rebuttal of that we feel is like a little bit more palatable, is the protecting the small businesses, because it is really going to hurt family owned shops if we don't have that fee, because Target and Weiss and Giant, they can all afford to buy their bags. To put that burden on the small businesses doesn't feel right. So at least if we put the fee and make everybody charge the fee, it kind of evens the playing field. Because that's what a lot of constituents overall have really been pushing back on. because a good majority of them are kind of okay with the plastic bag ban. A lot of them already kind of shy away from them most of the time. My mother stopped using them like 20 years ago. So
Okay.
I think overall that's probably the biggest piece of pushback and the one to kind of hone down.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Andy, did we ever send that document we were working on into anyone, or did Farron reply?
It's with Farron still.
Okay.
His reply to me was, "You need it this week, or is it okay to get next week?" Well, it's next week, next week now. It's a week
Yeah.
past the later date. So yeah, I'm still waiting to hear from him.
Okay.
But so Nick, if it comes up again, you can say we are working on responses. His team worked on some responses, and then we forwarded it on to Farron, and we're hoping to get his inputs. But
Mhm.
little delay, but I'll keep on
All
him.
good. All right. Any more plastic bag questions? All right. Other piece on that agenda that I know that we've talked about at council. I know we've discussed rooftop solar. That came up very briefly. And I'll kind of reiterate was council's probably base reply to almost everything. The more grants you can get, the more interested we become. I think it kind of goes without saying, overall, the council is very interested in getting any sort of green initiative going. We're all very, very concerned about the environment, very concerned about open space in the township. But what can make it difficult is that budget option. So any pursuit of grants and any grants we can secure really improves our standing and our ability to find ways to make it work. So rooftop solar, council would be very interested in, but we would want to see like some sort of grant initiative kind of going along with that. Other than that, I think that's all I have. If any of you have any more questions or any questions you think might be relevant for me to bring to council about any of those, let me know.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Do you have
Yeah.
any idea, Nick, on, I know you're saying bring more grants if we want to pursue solar. So I hear you, but I mean, is there a target of either total investment they'd be willing to make or uh, you know, a percentage that you think you need to have covered or like a payback period? You know, get it down to 5 years and maybe we'd be more interested. I mean, is there any kind of targets you could give us or just ask for that feedback so we have somewhere to
I
something to work towards?
I can ask council for that feedback. I would guess it'd probably be more geared towards a specific proposal versus just kind of like a general discussion. But I will ask council for their feedback and I can bring that back to you and we can get some like specific numbers for you so
Yeah.
you have some more targets to hit.
To look for a grant, we would need more, financial information as to,
Yeah.
what usually it's a match. The
Mhm.
township would put up a certain amount of money and the grant would be of the other part. So we would really need some
Yeah.
more information.
So all right. So Andy, if you want to send me like a list of information you need from council, I can make sure to gather that up and get that back to you. So that way I know specifically what to ask for.
Yeah, I can put it in writing.
Perfect.
And,
Thank you.
Nick, this is Bill Saby. I just wanted to mention that for the solar, using the 30% federal tax credit, the typical payback that municipalities, schools, nonprofits can expect is typically 10 to 13 years. So I wouldn't want to place too much of a higher expectation in council's mind, so you can kind of use that as an average.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Y'all have anything more for me?
I appreciate the information and you found me here for a
A-
little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Absolutely. Yep. I will see you all next month. Look forward to seeing everybody in person.
Right.
Yep.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Bye.
All right. Well, now we'll go through the agenda, I guess, as we laid out. I think we've already talked about a lot of the things here, but after all that conversation, let's go back to introduction. So I wasn't, anticipating a new member at this time, but I guess John decided that he wasn't interested in participating anymore. So I see I still got him listed here on the agenda as a co-lead here, assistant with the community education. So I'll take that off. But good news is council was quickly able to fill it. We have a couple different people that have expressed some interest. So welcome, Frank.
You.
And yeah, if you don't mind, I mean, just kind of giving us some introduction on yourself. I don't know what you do professionally, what you're interested in here with joining the EAB, and then we'll all take a turn so you get a chance to meet us all.
All right. Try to make it short. Married, father of 4 adult children, lived in the township 38 years. We had a 2-year plan, wife in in Philadelphia, me in Allentown. We moved here. The way things turns out 38 years later, here we are. I have been involved with the township. I was on the planning commission. I was on the zoning board for 10 years. I was chairman of the zoning board for 3. And I was on the building appeals committee for 8 years. And I was chairman for those 8 years. My background is I'm a licensed professional engineer and spent most of my career in the power industry, mostly nuclear power industry. I'm retired, did work part-time as a bike and ski technician at REI. And I'm just glad to help out again and get back with some people of the township and see what's going on. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's you got a lot of experience with the township. That's great. So Andy Katronik been with the board here since 2019. Now the current chair of the board. So after next year, I guess I'll have to be forced into a temporary leave. But he's almost 16 years in the township. My original background was in aerospace engineering, and I worked on satellite development. But in 2015, I went back to school and got my master's in sustainable engineering. As the kids came along, I kind of got more interested in thinking about the environment and what we could do about improving that. And really, my interest was in kind of residential building efficiency and then renewable and alternate energy. With my master's, I ended up kind of focusing on renewable alternate energy sources. So completed my master's in sustainability in 2019. I was with Villanova. Like I said, joined the board here in 2019 as well. And then for 3 years or so now, I've been working professionally as a sustainable engineer, do sustainability and life cycle assessment for a chemicals company, plastics and chemicals. But yeah, I mean, it's a good opportunity to try to help them think more sustainably, even though it's not the necessarily the background of such things. But anyway, if there's no questions for me, I don't know. We'll go on to Maria, I guess.
Oh, my cat just walked in. She might walk across the keyboard, but I'm trying to keep her at bay over here. I have been I live in Tutu. I have been living in Plymouth Township for about 21 years. I have adult children, 3 grandchildren, recently widowed. I was on council for 4 years. I think it was 2013. Bill, correct me if you think of a different date. I'm a trained master's level social worker, but the last 10 years of my working career, I just retired last June. I've been teaching at Gwinnett Mercy University, sociology and social work. And I was also teaching at Delaware County Community College with psychology, social problems, sexual behavior. There was a bunch of other diversity. So I've been teaching for quite a number of years, as well as a geriatric social worker. I've been involved in the environment and gardening. I was a volunteer for the Harriet Weatherall Park for like 6 years, until my health got so that I couldn't do it any longer in terms of the kneeling and all that stuff with the weeding. But I've been involved in politics for a long time, doing a lot of advocacy work for older adults when I was, doing that sort of thing, but also with Ceasefire PA. So I've been involved in a lot of different organizations for good of community. Did I forget anything, guys? Okay.
No, Andrew? I'm just
Hey,
going down. I
Okay.
see.
Yeah, welcome, Frank. I'm glad you can join us, and it's awesome to hear about your experience with the township and in your career as well. So I'm excited
Thank
to
you.
work with you. I've been in the township for I think about 21 years, and I run a local nonprofit that does some ecological restoration work, a lot of native tree and shrub plantings throughout Plymouth and White Marsh. And professionally, I'm an urban forester. So I work with municipalities to plant trees and maintain and improve green space in urban areas. I've been on the board since late 2022, and yeah, I'm excited to work with you.
Welcome, Lena. Uh, Introduce yourself.
Yep. Um, Hi, Frank. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Lena Shevde. I am staying in Plymouth meeting since 2014. So past, 10 years. I am professionally civil water resources engineer, and my PhD is in sustainable green infrastructure. And currently I also, just like Maria, I taught at Lafayette College. I taught various courses in civil and environmental engineering for last 3 years, and then now I have switched back to industry, working on hydraulic and hydrologic modeling and designing green infrastructure and other water resources infrastructure.
Wow. Nice.
Thank you. That's all the members that are on the call of the board. Obviously, Nick was our council liaison, and I guess if you've had a lot of experience with the township, but maybe you already know Rick, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And our guest who keeps dialing in, Bill Saby, longtime involvement with the board, currently on leave also because he has exceeded his 6 years. But Bill, since you're an active member here, you want to just introduce yourself as well?
Hello, Frank. Yeah, I was on the EAB. Rick and I got it started, I think. Rick, what was that, 2008 or 2009?
Yep. I believe 2009, but it could have been 8.
Nine sounds right. And I've been in the township since 2000. I'm an IT, what do you call it, administrator, system administrator for SharePoint Office 365. I was at Unisys in Bluebell for most of my career, and then became a contractor in 2010 since. So good to meet you. Glad to have your experience to assist the board.
Thank you, Bill.
Frank, I'm Rick Carbo. I'm the township liaison. I'm a township employee. I'm guessing that Jane is your wife. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so I've worked with Jane when she was on the Parks Board, years ago. I don't know how many,
Yeah.
but seems like a long time ago, but it probably wasn't. But anyway, I don't know that we've ever met. Maybe we have. Like I said, Jane was a great member of the Parks Board for a lot of years and did a lot of good. So I am familiar with your family in that way.
Thank you, Rick. I think we've crossed, but not like,
I'm sure we've met, somewhere along the lines, but glad to have you.
but thank you.
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's any questions or anything you want to jump in with, but could continue with the agenda. Right, Frank? Good. All right. There you go. So I mean, I think we already talked a lot about the single-use plastic ordinance. All the mostly information's the same as you've been sharing. Added the presentation for the town hall. I know I missed that link last time. So yeah, I guess at the workshop for July, they decided not to do the second or final consideration at the official monthly meeting on the 8th. So delayed a little bit there. Like I said earlier, we did that little bit of responses to the bag the ban points or things that are brought up right there, and then sent it on to Farron. It was the week before 4th of July, or the week of 4th of July, and yeah, I still haven't heard back from him besides that one email saying, when do you need it? So I told him that last week would be fine, but I'm still waiting on him. I have bugged him twice since then and haven't heard from him. So I don't know if he ended up on vacation or something, but I'm happy to hear that council, thinks they'll be able to move forward with just those 2 changes. I don't have any problem with the box statements and 15 to 10 cents. I guess that was within what we thought was reasonable. Well, going for the 15, but that's okay. Well, we can do 10. A lot of the other townships have done a 10-cent fee, so that's okay. I don't have any other updates. I did want to ask, Andrew, have you heard anything on the township website? Because I did bring that up with council and Karen Weiss, and they didn't actually respond on that point. So,
No, unfortunately not. I followed up with Brandon a couple times and didn't get a response. I can try again. He's usually pretty good at responding, but I don't know. I don't know why.
Why do you think there's a holdup?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a lot of work to set up a new web page or
Guys, I could add a little bit. I did talk to Len, so and I'm not a big IT guy, as a lot of you know, but I think the first thing that they're tackling right now is they're switching everything over to a new a Microsoft. It could be, Bill, you might know, it might be the Office 365. They're switching everybody's computers over now, and it's been a pretty big undertaking. I know they ran into some problems. Me in particular, I know I lost all my contacts for a little while, but so I think once that is all like completed and they feel comfortable with it, I think that they're going to start was Len's answer. You know, right now they're pretty involved in switching all this stuff over. They're going department by department, and I think the police is really going to be a big undertaking. So I guess I don't know if that answers your question, but I think it's coming. But once they get through all this other stuff.
Thanks, Rick, for that context. That was scratching my head on it a little bit because it sounded like having an FAQ available for them to point people to was right up the alley of what they're asking us for. So, like, well, we had this idea. And we've done other web pages where we provided information, so it didn't seem like it would be too hard to get done. But no, okay, I can follow with having all those IT updates. Why you got some delay? So I'll volunteer Bill to solve them all for you.
I'm sure they could use. I mean, I know that they ran into a lot of glitches. And that was only on some of the smaller departments. So I think you know they're anticipating the police being a big undertaking.
But on solving the mystery of Microsoft and Bill Gates. I didn't have anything else here. Anyone else? Single-use plastics.
Why do you think they want the box issue in the ordinance? That sounds kind of strange. Since it'll be free. And
Yeah.
you know, not it's only one store. It doesn't make sense.
I thought Nick referred to having received some comments and just wanting to be responsive. Make sure it's
Yeah.
clear that the boxes are allowable under the ordinance.
Mm.
I'll just ask another question in order that the board can tell me they've addressed that already. It would seem like this plastic bag thing, would it be also kind of more easily conquered at a county or state level? It just seems to me like, you know, kind of a checkerboard pattern of townships. And if the state or even the country, like they did against litter in the 60s and 70s, came out with a pretty strong, you know, marketing campaign or plan or whatever, kind of do that. I just throw that out. I don't want to get lost in a discussion of that. But
No, I agree.
just a thought as I think about the implementation of this.
I mean, that's what New Jersey did.
Hmm,
They
okay,
made it statewide, but
that's right.
you know, for some reason it hasn't been tackled at the state level of Pennsylvania.
All right, good. Yeah, I didn't think of that, Maria. Thank you.
Yeah, there's definitely some states. I mean, I don't think we see too much movement on it at the PA state level.
Right.
You know, the more urban areas, Philadelphia and its surrounding. Philadelphia has one. Like we said, White Marsh, East Norton, Upper Marion. So all surrounding us.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that's just the way it's ended up working out in PA. Interesting enough, I actually, you know, quote unquote, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, right? It's, I did not realize this. I mean, I came from Ohio, but PA is actually kind of a case study in municipal management. I guess we actually have a very large variation of laws in the state. It met a researcher actually from Canada who uses PA to study because of the way we have our laws and everything determined. I did not realize that it was actually that unique, but I guess the state actually stands out, and so kind of just in fitting with the trend in the state, this is one of those issues that it's being taken up at the municipal level more than at the state level. But if anybody else wants to respond there, I don't know more of the background.
Yeah, just a quick one on the background is that Narberth and Philadelphia or Westchester were the first, and Philadelphia were the first ones to propose a ordinance back in 2019. When COVID hit, the legislature put a ban on all plastic bag bans. So for 2 years, I think Narberth and Westchester or Philadelphia were prohibited from implementing. And I think it's because the legislature in Pennsylvania is majority conservative, and there's a big fracked gas proponent that believes that plastics are good for Pennsylvania to keep them in business. So that was part of it. So yeah, right now it's back to individual municipalities, which I agree is crazy because I believe Pennsylvania has something like 2,700 munis, individual munis. So, but that's where we are. And Farron Savage, our Penn Environment lead on this, feels that even though it's a slow process, that we are making progress. I think there's more than 25 plus or so in Pennsylvania now, with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, being some of the larger ones. But yeah, right now it's up to the munis to do it.
I appreciate the background I'm getting in this, and read a few notes later. Thank you.
So I had I have a chart, I don't know, next chart or the chart after on the energy transition plan, not too much. It's really just going over some of what I've read so far at the PA climate action plan, reviewing that in order to see how a municipal energy transition plan could complement what they have at the state level. And I hadn't heard any more if there will be a county plan or not. And some of just the background, Frank, we had drafted a municipal energy transition plan as an action out of passing the Ready for 100, not an ordinance, what is it, objective that council put in place in 2019 with a bill. So we had drafted a plan, and that was right as they were going into work on the municipal building. And they felt that the energy transition plan would, at the same time as having to shift everyone around, all the different departments around, and work around the municipal building construction, just wasn't a good time to pass it at that time. So we got delayed until after the township building was complete. We're trying to take it back up this year a little bit slow by the working on the single-use plastic reduction ordinance, but looking to get back into it now. There's a little background, and I have a chart later. And I know we wanted to talk some more about the rooftop solar. And before we get into that topic as well, asked Andrew, Maria, to talk if you had anything on the open space fund and community education.
I don't, but I have, I was wondering, like, should we not bring this up again to council until the plastic bags ordinance is kind of finished up with, or like I'm I guess I can do more reading about this in other municipalities, but we got some good information from guest speakers about it, and I don't know, yeah, what could be done in the meantime if we could, if we think putting out a survey, like just a feeler survey to residents again or something like that about this, just to see where most people stand, or if we should just kind of wait and ask council again once the plastic bag stuff is mostly done.
Andrew, do we have a map that identifies what open space we really have left in Plymouth?
Do we have a map? You asked?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it
Gotta
seems like
make
they're
one.
building everywhere on open space, so I don't see much open space except our parks.
Yeah, there are some spots. I think Rick may know better. There are some spots that are on the township's list if they come up for sale to consider buying. But yeah, I mean, there are, like, even in the last few years that we've seen development next to parks at Harriet Wetherill and JFK that may have been good candidates. And I know Rick commented on that property at adjacent to JFK before, but I think there are still pieces left to protect and other things to consider. But
Who's keeping an eye out for the sale of those properties?
So, there is a short list of properties that, I mean, and it goes back probably, I mean, probably 20 years or so. There was a list of properties that the township identified that if they did come up for sale, that the township would be interested in purchasing them. Since then there has been a couple of properties that we have purchased, and then there was the one at JFK that we did not. But I don't know if all those property owners were contacted at the time. I'd have to ask. I know that there were at least a couple that were contacted. So I don't know if everyone was contacted, but there is a list that was generated years ago of properties that, and they're mostly like there was a couple that are adjacent to the community center property, probably three or so properties there. There was 2 properties next to JFK Park. So there's a couple next to Harriet Wetherill. So there is a list, I guess. I just don't know if all those properties were contacted to let them know that the township was interested. I believe they were, but I can't be sure.
How can we find out what we can do about it?
I could ask the township manager to see if those properties were contacted. I do believe they were, because the 2 that we recently purchased, you know, I don't know if the right of first refusal is the right term to use, but I know we were contacted before they went on the market to see if we were interested. So I have to ask Karen really to see if they were contacted.
Let me know if I could do it, help with anything.
Sure. And just so, like, there's no real large properties. I mean, these are mostly residential, some
Right,
could
they're
be
houses with yards, yeah.
that butt up to already existing township open space that would make sense to acquire to to make those parks or those
Yeah.
facilities better.
I knew about the ones near the community center, but I didn't know if there was other ones. Okay. Thank
There are.
you.
Yep, got it.
and another thing, I don't know. I think we may have talked about this, but I don't know what kind of if it's possible to also use these funds or to use these funds for maintenance of our existing open spaces and parks too. Like if if I don't know if these, I guess it depends on the way it's written and stuff, but
Mhm.
we
That's
could
true.
potentially also maybe set aside a certain percentage of these funds for, I don't know, tree planting or just maintenance or continued, tree removal if a dead tree is hanging over a path or something like that kind of
Or
stuff.
even-
I don't know.
Or even infected
Can do.
trees.
Yeah.
I think in a prior discussion, we had talked about, I think fairly recently, that whatever these funds or how it works, were allowed, at least a certain percentage was allowed to be used on existing park maintenance. So I'd have to go back to old notes or to the recording to find the details, but I know that we talked about that in one of our prior meetings on it.
Yeah.
I
And
wanted to encourage you maybe to look at the 2040 plan and see if there was anything called out in there. I mean, I'm just kind of curious because I think we need to keep that on, council's mind as well, that, there was a lot of work that went into that plan. And I think more of us need to get familiar with it and, keep reminding people of these kind of long-term plans that the township has for its development. And then Maria, what exact information did you want from Karen?
Oh, I was just curious because, as you drive around the township, actually, Bill's had
You
his
want
hand
the
up for a
list?
while.
Yeah, I know.
I
Do
just
you
was,
want the
yeah,
list, Maria, of the locations that
of
the
what's
township's gonna want?
actually still considered open space in our
Oh, what's
township,
open space?
right?
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to clarify what Rick was looking for. So you want a map or just a list of
Yeah, just
what are
where the
open
properties
spaces
are, the
that could still be
addresses or
considered?
something, yeah. Bill's had his
Rick,
hand up.
I hear him, Rick. Rick, is that something you can do?
I mean, I'm sure it's public information. I mean, it was a list generated, interdepartmentally, of properties that, the township would be interested in. I don't know that there's any, disclosure stuff if we're, I don't know whether or not it'd be legal to put people's addresses on there. I'll ask
That's
Karen.
true. That's for HIPAA. I don't think you can. You're right. You're
I,
right.
I know the list of properties because I was involved in putting it together. And I could tell you that it's mostly residential properties that abut
Mhm.
township parks and facilities. Most of them are, I would say, 2 acres or less. I mean, they're, the property next to Harriet Weatherall Park where they're building those houses, there is a
Mhm.
set that was protected. Like, I think that was a 13-acre property, and I'm going to say that, I'll say that 7 acres, and I don't know that that's the amount, but there was 7 acres that abuts Harriet Weatherall Park that are protected, that are not, they can't build on. So I think that piece is on the list, but I'll ask. I don't know whether or not I could give out people's addresses, but I'll
No,
ask.
no. I just was, just wondering so we know what we're talking about here.
Like, I know, so Gary's farm, I want to say it's 30 acres,
Uh-huh.
protected through a grant, and the township had to put up a large sum of money
I remember that. Yeah.
to be a partner in that. So, I guess, that's kind of protecting open space too. Now, we didn't get the property, but it cannot be, it can't be developed in a way that's, a housing development or anything like that. So
Apartments or anything. Okay.
Yeah. for the township, and I don't know the number, but I know it was a significant amount of money that the township had to go, was a partner along with the county, to protect that property. So,
Yeah.
there's really one large parcel left in the township, which is the McNeil estate. But that's really the only, I mean, you guys see what developers are doing now. They're buying, You
Oh
know,
my God, yeah.
they're buying it for 300,000, knocking them down, and they're putting up $850,000 houses. I think that's probably, what the next wave of development is going to be. So, but
Yep.
anyway,
Yeah.
I'll find out whether or not I could share that list with you
Okay.
guys.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
There's also I've been trying to follow this one property on Sandy Hill Road that's pretty much entirely forested right now. That they're trying to propose or develop, put 4 houses on. And because it's on such a slope, they'd have to build like big water retention basins so that it doesn't flood the neighborhoods below. So the
Wow.
amount of tree removal would be kind of ridiculous. But we can't really, I guess, as it stands now, we can't use the funds from this open space fund if it existed for those types of properties. I don't think.
Yeah.
But
I don't think there is an open space fund that I'm aware of, but I
right,
could tell you
if it
that
existed, I mean,
yeah, that property has been for sale since I started at the township, and nobody. The real reason is they need to run water, and it's like it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get there needs to be fire hydrants within so many feet of those properties, and the cost to run it is like several $100,000. That's the real reason why it hasn't been developed. It is on it. The topography is not great, but the real reason is the infrastructure that they need to do before they can even attempt to build houses. And I don't think anybody wants, none of the developers want to spend that money.
yeah, I know there's a current plan that's within the council meetings, I guess. But yeah, because I asked about it recently, and but if that's, yeah, I guess we don't have to talk about it now, but just that properties like that would be good to preserve. I mean, especially if developers would have to do a whole lot to even get it developed, but
Hey, Bill, you have a final word? We'll try to push forward a little bit, okay?
Yeah, I was just thinking that was a discussion I believe we had 2 years ago. Andrew, it might be worth inviting Ellen Miramontes back to discuss this with the board, especially with the new members on the board, so that everybody's kind of more aware of what the actual proposal could be, and also within the 2 years to see whether the county has received any other insights into this recommendation. Plus, after we had the EAB presentation, we asked Ellen and Bill to present to council. And because there's 2 new council members since then, it'd probably be worth going through the whole cycle again, where after Ellen presents to you guys, then you guys figure out what discussion points you want to bring up with council, and then ask her if they could also present to them, because then everybody will be really up to speed on the pros and cons, and which properties do apply and don't apply, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks, Bill. Community education, anything, Maria? Or-
No, except, I have the summary of the meeting I attended last night.
Yeah, we'll hold on that.
Oh, yeah, we'll hold on that till the end, yeah. Oh, before we go, where can I find a copy of the 2040 plan?
We'll send it out. I mean, it's available on the website, on the township website.
It's on the township, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and send it.
Okay, thank you.
Lena or Bill, actually, were you, I don't know who wants to talk to this. I put some of the notes that Bill, you and Lena were exchanging in one of your emails. I just kind of put these on the chart, and I know you had updated the solar calculator, uh, added the community center, and then I think you sent out another update today. Did you modify this one today? I don't know if you modified the one on the SharePoint site or not.
Yeah, so some of the background is that I started to explore what other communities were doing for solar, and that's where I came up with the West Goshen and Springfield references for us. And then based on that, I took our workbook, the first link, and sent it to a solar Ron Solitano, who did the Springfield analysis, and he recommended that we convert to a different pro forma workbook, which actually is part of a Solar for Schools toolkit that I believe is the PA Solar Center put together for the Pennsylvania DEP with some grant money a couple of years ago. So apparently, they're feeling that this other workbook, pro forma, is a better modeler, and it includes financing in it. So, and so when I put our information into this new workbook, by default, this new pro forma workbook has a calculation of a loan rate at 6.5%. And it turned out that with that loan amount, saying we didn't have enough money to do our own outright purchase of the installation, then that loan amount would be how we would finance it over that period of time. At 6.5%, it actually doesn't make sense, because their payback, the payback I came up with, was only $430,000 at the end. So if you're investing something for 25 years and you're only getting 430,000 back, it really may not make sense, right? With all that work that goes into it. So, but then I talked to Nancy Winkler in Lower Marion Township, and she had worked for finance in Philadelphia. She was a consultant to them, but she has a lot of municipal finance background. And she recommended that the township look at a municipal bond, because that's got a much higher reliability of investors wanting to invest in it. And if Plymouth has got a AA or a single A rating, these investors will love investing in it. And that the rate she kind of saw off the cuff was like 3.59% bond rate. So, but that would probably give us a better payback on the actual whole system. So I think that all of this information it gives us more and more ways to look at how to present this, and to realize that other munis are trying to figure this out themselves. And if we can leverage some of the existing ways that people have made this pitch to their munis, I think then we don't have to feel like we have to, figure out the best way to pitch this. So the other option for affording solar is called a PPA, and that's also in the pro forma workbook within the Solar for Schools toolkit, but I did not yet get to test that out to see how that penciled out. And what that does is it gives the developer initial ownership of the system, and they get more and more of the tax payback. But in the long run, the muni or the end customer would get a higher return because they are given an ability to purchase back the system at certain points in the life of the cycle. So there's still a bit that I think we can explore. And so I just wanted to put all that information out there so that we could start to look at it. And I think we could still come up with a pretty compelling proposal, because I think if we can find, if council does have any reserve budget, what they could look at is taking some of the reserve money and loaning it to themselves. If they don't have any other plans to use that reserve for a period of years, they could say, well, we don't mind reinvesting it in the solar, and then as soon as the solar pays back, they build back their reserve account. So there could be multiple ways to skin this cat. So I just wanted to put all that kind of information out there. I've still got a contact with Horsham, who is doing a solar system, and I'm going to talk to their manager to find out how they made the case for this. So I don't think we have enough yet to kind of say we're ready to make a presentation, but I just wanted to let you know, I think we're gathering enough information that hopefully we will be better able to make a presentation when we're ready.
Yeah, Bill, we can maybe, you, me, and if Andy is interested, or if he has time, we can divide. How do we want to approach this? You have already put in a lot of effort, and I would certainly like to contribute to this. So I can take up some of the background research work, and yeah, we can take it. I know there are, like what you explained about the bonds, there is like a specific term which is used for it, like which is the green revolving fund. And that's something many townships as well as like industries and institutes, they have been working on it. So I think we can find material on that as well.
Yeah, that's a good insight, Lena. And I'd suggest, if you do have a chance to read that Springfield Township feasibility study, it's kind of fascinating, because he did all this feasibility work without actually going out and getting well, he actually is a solar. He has enough background. He's not doing solar installations right now, but he has enough background to do his own solar design. So he actually laid out the panels for their roofs. So he put together this whole kind of like a feasibility study. And I think, I can't remember what he billed the township for, but it might have been $2,000 or something like that. So, if we really wanted to get somebody to help council understand how this could really, give them benefit, and they're willing to do an initial feasibility study, it might be worth at least starting with that. So, it helps you feel more comfortable with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, all that sounds great. I don't have any questions, comments.
Yeah, another
Mhm.
idea, we I don't know if, like, there might be some consultant who might do it, or there might be few researchers or academic who might be interested in, like, in looking into this. So maybe, we can find that out as well.
Any other questions? Thanks for sharing all that information. Here's an update. So I didn't have much, so this is related to the energy transition plan. I just put in the chart. It was kind of a little bit of a putting pressure on myself to get moving. Had to, got to give yourself goals, right? So, I wanted to go through the PA Climate Action Plan. Really, Aaron Weiss, I think, had pointed us to the fact that um, the county was working on a climate action plan as a reason why we didn't really need a township level plan. However, we haven't seen that county level plan come to fruition. It's been silent for a couple of years. So I was just going back to the PA climate action plan to understand, really what it covers, what it looks like. So I was interested. I didn't realize it had such a history. It goes all the way back to 2008. It's actually the fifth iteration. Again, I was unaware. Focused a lot on the greenhouse gas reduction and adaptation. So in that way, it goes beyond what we would be looking at for an energy transition plan. Certainly wouldn't go into the adaptation aspect that's covered by the climate action plan. And so, a lot of what it talks about at the state level policies and programs, et cetera, really wouldn't be applicable to a municipal level. But it was interesting just to see how closely it mirrors. And I wanted to go back and see. I have vaguely, I think I recall during the education series that we had when we were developing the energy transition plan, that they did. We worked on this with a lot of the neighboring counties or municipalities, and had an education series that was put together. And I thought they did base it on something at the state level. So I'm guessing this is it, and I just didn't realize it. But there's definitely some parallels there. They're just talking about things at a, I say higher level, but at a state level that might not be applicable. But really, a lot of the actions they call for the GHG reductions do in some ways mirror things that we were talking about at the municipal level. So I didn't have too much, and I know it's getting a little late, so push forward. I did find that the graphic on the bottom there, I found a little scary. Share my scare with you guys at the end of century here. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting a little tired of these 90+ degree days here this summer. It's been pretty warm, but they're predicting our area to have 80 to 100 or so days of 90+ degrees by the end of the century here, and some more significant heavy rainfall predictions as well there. But those 90-degree days, those are what really caught my attention in that figure. Not good. And any questions or thoughts here on the climate action plan? I'll just keep plugging away and keep informing you guys of what I learn as I go.
Andy, I did reach out to John Lesher, and they apparently do have the climate action plan almost ready. They're working on a new website, and so he didn't give me any estimate as to when they plan to get the website published. But once he lets me know, I'll let you know, and we can look at it.
Great. I mean, I'm happy about it. I think we can complement it, or just if nothing else, state how we'll support it, how we'll implement it at the township level. Maybe our document becomes just a small 10-pager. I forget how long it is. It's pretty long. But maybe it's something small just to say, here's the concrete actions that we're taking that align with the state and county level. But I think that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks for that, Bill.
So based on the climate action plan, like county's climate action plan, we can come up with our own sustainable development plan. That's something I have seen many of the townships do if they are not having their own climate action plan. I can pull up some examples.
That sounds great.
Thanks. I've heard the term. I don't recall what all they cover, but yeah, if you had some examples you're aware of, appreciate. I'll review them too.
Yeah, so whatever we have like on our list, right? Like whatever we have been proposing, like the solar or renewable energy transition plan, that's a sustainable development plan. And in addition to that, we should also, so when we call sustainable development, we will also cover some of the social and economical aspects.
And also to let you know, I met with Lower Providence Township EAC and West Norton EAC. They're both ready to start their energy transition plans because they passed their Ready for 100 resolutions. So we're going to have a follow-up meeting in August to kind of see whether they've had a chance to look at the existing energy transition plans that have been published. Buckingham Township in Bucks County just published or got their energy transition plan adopted, and Andrea Stout was on the same energy transition training series that you and I attended, Andy. So, you know, I think with the examples we've got in the draft that we created for Plymouth, yeah, it's a good idea to tie it into the state and county climate action plan. But I think, you know, with the list of actions that we build out, I think that would be a great starting point for the township to start working on their greenhouse gas reduction work. Because I think if they keep saying that, oh, we'll just wait for the county's plan, the county's plan doesn't really have, you know, John Lesher has always told me that the county has no ability to force or ask townships to do something unless they are led to do it themselves. Meaning if it's their own motivation and their own interest that they're going to achieve some gain, then, you know, they'll work on it. But the county can't ask townships to do anything. So when the county puts this plan out, you know, it's just going to sit there on the shelf, kind of like our comprehensive plan. And unless someone in the township or council says, hey, let's create an action plan. And I think that's one thing we did in our energy transition plan was create a way to keep it on track. We asked for an annual report. We asked for periodic meetings with the department heads to see if we're meeting our goals. And that's typically, I don't see that in many of the plans that are listed from the state or the county level. So in a sense, I think our energy transition plan draft is already stronger because of that, because it asks the township to take concrete action every year. And I think that's why they're resisting it. And that's probably why they'll defer to the county plan, because they won't have to do anything. So I think you've got a good starting point with the existing plan we've already written.
All right, yeah, no, thanks for all the input. I look forward to hopefully seeing the county level one soon, and we'll review those sustainable development plans as well. Yeah, thanks. So social media posts, I added a list here of what we posted so far this year. I was a little confused as I went through it. I'm not a big Facebook person, so I don't know, but I thought we had some more than this, so I was confused. The bullets there is like the first sentence of each of the the blurbs that we put in there. And then just in the month that we posted. So, on the ideas going forward, wanted to keep people up to date on what's the status of the single-use plastic reduction ordinance, upcoming announcements or passage by the council. Plastic recycling education type aspects, I thought we had talked about in the past as being good things to make use of our Facebook page to do. So any other ideas, anything we can post this month? I mean, I'd like to, I don't know how active you have to be to keep people interested in your feed, but I'd like to see at least one a month or so.
Thanks, Andy.
Yep.
I'll get working on a few posts and we can line them up. I think those are good ideas and I can think of some more.
Yeah, I know you were in charge of the social media aspect. I wasn't trying to call you out on anything. I'm just trying to pull the team here for different ideas.
One of the things that was discussed last night by Representative Scanlon was the idea that they're trying to roll back the regulations on Energy Star. There's something going on in DC regarding refrigerator wars. She was really very blunt about it, but they're trying to do a lot with stove wars, refrigerator wars, trying to roll back regulations on energy saving measures on all our appliances, including there's a SUDS one. It's crazy that they're trying to, but I wonder if I can find more information to let people know about that because, people break their washers and dryers and refrigerators every day and they have to buy them rather quickly. And to know that they're trying to roll back some of this stuff might be helpful when they're purchasing things.
Yeah, I forget it. If I'm thinking it was in my master's program, but I feel like it was more recent than that. But it was in a presentation, and they talk about different regulations, different approaches, for federal regulations or different programs the federal government runs. And Energy Star was actually listed as, I mean, everybody knows what Energy Star is. It was really listed as one of the biggest successes of these types of activities by federal government to try to improve, energy efficiency or other type of things that the federal government has undertaken. So to hear that it'd be interesting rolling it back is kind of a, because that's, I don't know, in a review of those, like I said, it was rated as probably one of the best they've ever done.
Right, absolutely. And that's why she was really concerned that, the House of Representatives is even, using, even trying to invade in something that was so successful. Anyway, it's tied to a bunch of the other stuff that they talked about last night. So I don't want to get ahead of what we're doing here.
Yeah. So again, any talk on what other ideas on Facebook posts, suggestions? Well, again, we've kind of got Andrew in front of working with Brandon and getting these posted for us on our EAB Facebook site or feed, whatever you call it. So I don't know, Andrew, if you could work on, if you have some different ideas, I'll try to keep it in mind if I come up with any ideas and anyone just anyone can generate these, whatever ideas you have, provide something, and we just need to provide it to Brandon, and he can post it for us on our Facebook page.
Do we want to do anything with any of the House bills that are out there regarding the environment in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, if you have some ideas, I know I put some in the charts here sometimes.
Now, should we send them to Andrew to post, or clear them with anybody before we, do it? What do you want to do?
Well, yeah, I mean,
How are we working that?
our methodology used to be that anyone could write them and
Okay,
share them with the entire EAB, and
okay.
just give a couple of days for comments, and
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
uh,
Okay,
if you receive comments or not, you can move on in a couple of days and provide it to Brandon, and he can just ask him to post it on the EAB site. But yeah, I mean, I'm open. I don't know, Andrew, if you have a better idea on request to handle it.
I think that sounds good.
yeah,
Just what folks think.
thank you. Well, the thunderstorm is arriving.
Yeah. I didn't have, so I mean, the township discussions of the month, these were, again, just things that, I was hearing throughout the month and talking to people and so forth, and looking for anyone to, put on here, things that they had talked up, environmental related, uh, throughout the month, you're talking to your neighbors, and what's the, what do you hear as you're going about town? The only thing I put on here was the ag, the ban pressure.
Mhm.
We've heard about, and we already talked about that, so no need to reiterate. Any other
No, I
things
haven't
that
heard
people are
much.
hearing this month?
No. And with all this heat, we haven't really been out and about. I mean, even the concerts in the park have been canceled, so, or postponed because of the heat. Um, so it's hard to communicate with your neighbors even.
No.
Feel like I'm on lockdown again.
Yeah. Go out for a little bit, bright and early. That's it right now. Rick, you still with us here? You got any announcements to share?
I am still here. I guess real similar to last month. I mean, we're working through the punch list at the municipal building. Everyone has moved back into the building. We moved the police back in over the last several weeks. All the construction trailers are gone. There's still some storage trailers there. They should be gone in the next couple weeks. But yeah, that's really it. We're just we're working through the punch list, and we should we should be in good shape. I mean, we're in good shape, and we're working through some things, but yeah, that's really the only thing that I could comment on in the township building. Parks wise, we're doing some color coding and striping our courts. JFK was just completed. Caldwell was done. They started work at East Pleasant Valley tennis courts. That should be done next Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday. So yeah, that's some of the projects we're working on right now.
That's a lot.
Yeah, the township building, that finishing up is going to
That's
free
gonna
up.
be wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't wait to see it.
yep, next month.
Yep.
There.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Quickly, let's see, some state action. I think these came from the EAC, forum. So just a couple things, a presentation coming up on, I thought this aligned well with kind of our open space action, so that's coming up next week. Presentation, and then the EAC fall gathering. I mean, I've been to the spring conference. I've never, I think this is maybe just a, it's getting really nasty here right now. I think is maybe the third year of a fall gathering. Or at least I wasn't familiar with it before. I've never attended these ones. I don't know, Bill, if you've ever made it to one of these quote unquote gatherings. I don't know how this is different than the conference they have in the spring. But something if anyone's interested in attending.
Yeah, I attended the one last fall in Westchester University. It was well done. Typically they have a big what do you call it, room where we all are for some presentations, and then there are two, at least last year they had two side rooms that then had afternoon sessions that you could choose one or the other. So it's pretty well put together. It gives you a chance to network and meet other EAC members. So I thought it was good to be there. Oh, and just a heads up, Whitpain Community Day is Saturday, I believe, September 28th. And their EAC is kind of trying to get some environmental groups together, to see if they can have some tables close to each other. So I could forward that to you if the EAB has any interest. I don't know if they'd feel that that was competition or not your right territory.
Hello?
Did we lose Andy?
I'm still
There's
here, Phil.
I don't know if this had a problem where I'm in the corner of Plymouth Township and we're getting some really bad wind and rain blowing through here.
Yeah,
Maybe some
I'm
of them
still-
lost power.
Oh, it's raining, so we probably
Hi,
some
I'm
of them
back.
might have lost the power.
Yeah, I did for a few minutes.
Yeah, our lights have been blinking. I've
Yeah.
turned most of them
I
off.
I lost my connection completely.
And I don't know if this is while we're talking about it, an environmental board issue, but I'm watching my neighbor's trash blow down the street. Our trash day is until Thursday, but this neighbor like puts it out Monday afternoon, goes away and leaves it there for 3 days. And usually there's animals or whatever they could send to it. I thought there was a township warning against that, but
There is, they're not supposed to put it out till the same day.
well, I know, but I don't think it's ever been enforced, Maria. And
I think you're right, Frank. Yeah,
not a big deal, but like in this situation where trash day is Thursday and I'm looking at the trash flowing down my road, I
yeah.
don't want to clean it up. Nobody's there. And I don't
Nobody-
think anybody
yeah,
else on the
right.
street wants to clean it up because they get a little tired of it.
Sure.
Anyway, just thought I'd
I-
throw that out there as an environmental issue because it's going to blow into our open space, the small
Right.
open space we have in our development. Well,
So-
there's a creek, and the creek's right there. and, like,
Oh,
stuff. Anyway,
yeah, right.
just adding to
Yeah.
the
It adds to the neighborhood look, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we lost Andy and Andrew?
yeah, I only see Bill, Lena, Rick, and yourself, Marie.
Right, okay. I went to I was supposed to give a summary of the meeting that I went to last night. It was held by the Delaware County Sierra Club, and Representative Scanlon was there, and she gave the federal view of what's going on with the environment. So I don't know whether to do that or save it for next month. Because because it's not good. Oh, the recording's still on now.
Yeah, the recording will be on till I get off or I lose power.
Right.
It's up to you, Maria, whether you want to talk about it now or you want to wait. It's up, whatever you
Oh,
like.
Andy's back. Let's see here. Andy just popped back on. Andy,
Yeah, sorry, lost the power a little bit there.
I did too.
I don't know.
Do you want to just end and I'll save this for next month?
Yeah, I think you were just talking about the your call you attended yesterday.
To the meeting I went to last night.
Yeah,
It's really just an update on the federal side of the environmental stuff that's going on. Some of it will impact us. Some new things that I didn't know about that were really interesting. So some of it has to do with the water, the hydrogen hub that they're trying to negotiate with Delaware and New Jersey. That's called the Mid-Atlantic, and Pennsylvania is also part of the another hub, which is called the Appalachian Hub. That's also hydrogen hub. It's to cut down on fossil fuels, as we all know. But the other ones were had to do with some environmental justice issues. One was when they passed the IRA, Eastwick, Pennsylvania, had a lot of flooding issues, and they are on one of those from redlining. It's a Black community or impoverished community, disenfranchised group of people who were really always in the floodplain. And so that they have benefited from the IRA.
Maria, you're muted. I can't hear you.
My mute thing isn't on.
now it is.
No. Can you hear me now?
I hear you right now. You were dropping in and out. I don't know if you had
But
some power.
the cross sign wasn't on, so I didn't know I was muted. All right, how far back do I need to go?
Just keep going.
All right. So anyway, then I already mentioned the appliance stuff. They're looking at Energy Star, trying to roll back all the Energy Star stuff on refrigerators, washers, as well as dishwashers is another one. Refrigerators, energy, what else was there? Dishwashers, washers. Anyway, and then they're really concerned about what the Chevron decision by the Supreme Court's going to do for the experts and all the different agencies like the FDA, for one, and eliminating all the civil servants under Schedule F. The 2025 project also has something in there about dismissing a lot of the civil servants and the experts that are out there in different department heads. Another issue she brought up was called the part of the Congressional Review Act. They can, and that the Clean Water Act is also kind of stuck in there, and we might not be able to do anything for 2 to 3 years with the Clean Water Act because of that. And then I mentioned the hubs, the Mid-Atlantic hub and the Appalachian hub for hydrogen. And those two things are, the Appalachian hub is already well underway. That's with West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. And then the Mid-Atlantic hub is Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. That has to do with the hydrogen as well, and getting away from that. Another thing that she brought up, which was really something new to me anyway, was the LNG by rail, the natural gas movement. There's been a hold on that. Former President Trump had initiated that we could transport natural gas by rail, and then it didn't get started. But then Biden kind of put a hold on it until they can evaluate the safety issues that were involved. So, and that has to do with going through Pennsylvania, and since Pennsylvania has been doing a lot of natural gas fracking and stuff. So anyway, but it was interesting to hear how they're doing, what they're doing about the environment, but it sounds like they're trying to roll back everything in the House. Of course, it would have to go through the Senate, but they're really working on the Energy Star thing. Was a little bit frightening to me, but that was just one of the things that was scary. And I don't know how long it would take to do that, but that's what they're trying to do. That's all. I went to a lot of these websites for the Congressional Review. I went to the also the website for the LNG by rail website. So there's a lot of information out there that they're doing that might impact Pennsylvania and our township. But they're also very concerned about this project 2025. That's all I have.
Thanks, Maria, for dialing into that and for the info, sharing it here. Any other items people would like to discuss before we close?
I have a question that I don't know whether there's an answer. I might have to go further for that. If we were to do a community education program, say quarterly, at the community center, would we have to pay for the room?
I would say probably not. Usually, any type of, program that either benefits the employees or the residents, I don't believe they'll make you pay.
Okay. All right, because we don't have a budget, so I don't know how we would do that.
Yeah, I don't think they would make you pay. I mean, they may try and work with you on dates and times where there's not.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I don't. I'm doing a seminar in August for pesticide recertification credits, and our employees are going to go for free. So we're not charging we're not charging the organization that's going to run the program, because we're going to benefit because our employees. So I think it would be similar. They wouldn't charge you.
Okay, all right. I'm going to try to come up with some topics for the community education and run them by the group and see, or if anybody else has something they want to on community education, for the township residents, let me know. And we'll see if we can get a space and work it out.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn, or
I make a motion that we adjourn our meeting tonight.
I'll second.
Thank you.
all right, appreciate you guys, staying on here a little bit longer than I prefer to keep them to, but, appreciate your time and all the good information we shared. So you guys have a good month. We'll be in contact, via email in between.
We'll see you face to face in August. Bye.
Yeah,
Good night.
August,
Be
bye.
safe, everybody.
Have a good night.
Have a
Good night.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.